Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. So glad to have you guys here today. Before we get started, don't forget to go over to our Promote, Profit, Publish quiz, www.promoteprofitpublishquiz.com, and find out where your skill set is in relation to your platform building and marketing. So today's guest is Laura Hazzard. And I'm really excited to have her because I got to work very closely with her on a project, on an assessment that we put together for an event in Hong Kong for Tracy Hazzard. What Laura is all about is it's not about you or me, it's about the consumer. Their needs, their wants, their core values, what drives them and maintains loyalty. I live in a world of who, what, where, when, how, and most importantly, why. If you don't understand how your customer thinks, they won't stick around. That is so true. My expertise is in focus groups and small talks, in-depth interviews, in-home use tests, usability, quantitative research, and online boards. My background research is Target, Starbucks, Disney, Mars, Estee Lauder, Del Monte, Kohl's, and beyond. She is very candid, direct, spirited, a Midwestern at heart. So let's get started.
Thank you for that. That summarizes me exactly.
Wow, that's great. That is a great bio. We probably should also mention that she's a moderator and a research consultant in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Who specializes in focus groups. So
yes, I am in LA. I'm a research consultant here. I used to work for a larger agency, and now it's me. You get me.
That's the way I am. Larger agency, yes. Now you just get me. You probably want the rest of them back, but you're stuck with us.
Yes.
So I'm really curious. Focus groups, could you explain a little bit about what a focus group is? Because I didn't even know people did them anymore.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do focus groups still. So a focus group is qualitative research. And that means it's talking, it's interviews, it's person to person. And that's where a group of people, usually 4 to even 10 people, get together and we chat on a topic, a brand. We learn about what consumers love, what they don't love. And it's usually focused around, an objective. We do a lot of product testing, and it's great because we get to see it in person. People use a product. We'll also test commercials and different advertising messages. It's a way to get instant feedback with what I call color. So in a quantitative setting, you can have data, which I love. But so I can say 50% of the people will buy this. But in a focus group, I can hear about why they would buy it or why they wouldn't buy it.
Very nice. So I have to ask, back when I was in advertising, we used to approach people in malls. We were people with a clipboard.
A mall intercept, yep.
Mall intercept, and ask them to go into a back room and do this. I would imagine these days you'd probably be like creepy pervert stalker if you did that. How do you do it these days?
So now it's just a panel. It's you have every major city and even a lot of the smaller ones. There's just a panel of people that sign up to do research. They work in all different industries, all ages, all groups of people. And they get calls and they say, hey, do you fit this criteria? Do you want to come in and do a focus group? Or other types of qualitative research. To your point earlier, focus groups is an old and tried and true practice, but there's many newer ways we talk to people beyond just the focus group.
Okay, good. Glad you clarified that because I haven't seen any creepy mall stalkers in a really long time.
Yeah, they still happen, but I always tell my clients, let's find maybe a different way to do this.
Yes, I can imagine. So I think the reason this is so important is because, like you said, it's tried and true, and it's the company going out and actually talking to its consumers. Mm-hmm. And that is so important in today's market, and something that entrepreneurs don't do. They begin creating without the market in mind, without the usability in mind, so can you speak to that a little bit?
Definitely. I work with many individuals, small companies, and a lot of them don't plan in the budget because They don't even know how much it costs. Like, how can I plan for something if I don't really understand it to begin? I don't know the value of it. I don't have the money for it. And then a lot of times people, entrepreneurs, or if they are inventors, they feel they're the expert. And they are experts, right? But they don't know all the consumers. They don't know all the nuances. So sometimes they overlook consumer research at the beginning because they feel like they don't need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very definitely. But here's the thing that why it helps so much is when you're an expert, you're talking up here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have someone, if you actually don't know who you're talking to, are you talking to a beginner level user? Are you talking to a medium? Are you dealing with a higher level person? If you're not speaking the right level and the right language,
yeah,
you may have the right audience, but you're speaking to them completely.
Yeah, using the wrong terminology. It's always interesting to hear people describe a brand in their own words, or describe a product they use every day in their own words. And I bet it's totally different than the people who are the engineers and the inventors and the product developers, how they talk about it. And no one's going to buy something if they don't get it, if they don't know how it's going to help them, and how it will be valuable in their life. And, friends and family can give you some insight into how people will think about your brand or your offering, but you really need to get out there. To your point, you're way up here, and you need to know what's happening down in the weeds, in the stores, or with your potential clients.
You definitely do. And by the way, I highly recommend that you don't ask your family, because let's face it, your mother loves everything you do.
Yes.
She's not going
to do. And they won't be candid. And that's, where the negative feedback, and, sometimes people don't want to do research because they're scared of what they're going to hear. I love the negative. Give me the constructive feedback, because now we can do something. We can change something and make something better. If he comes back and everything's great and I'm going to buy the product, there's not much to work with there.
Right. In addition to, there's a difference too when you're asking people about these things. Like they say they'll buy it, but will they really buy it? Like, I think in those situations you find out what it will take for them to buy it and what the price points are that they will buy it as well.
It's price points, it's the retailer, the location. They have to be in the right mindset to buy. How many times do you see an ad on Instagram or on TV or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's really cool, I'd buy that, but you didn't, right? Why is that? It's because I'm scrolling on my phone. I'm not going to remember to do that later, or whatever it is. It's also the mindset and getting to the consumer at the right place at the right time when they have the means to hire you or buy your product.
Right. And the right tone of it too. There's this, I don't know if I should say this, but there's some ads that I've been kind of looking back and forth at the two different companies, which I imagine are competitors. And I'm going to say one of them is Wayfair. And I look at Wayfair's commercials and I'm like, that is hilarious. And the energy. And then I look at their competitors and I go, yeah, that's just like, I'm not feeling it.
You're not feeling it. But maybe someone out there does. I mean, it's so funny. I will see an ad and be like, what research told them to do this? But I hope they did some research and, for their sake. But yes, that is sometimes you see something and you're like, wow, there's such a better way to talk to me about this.
Yeah, exactly. So what other things do you do? You and I put an assessment together, but I know that the one we did was very basic for you. You were super helpful, but you do more in-depth ones out there. How do you do them? What do you do them for?
Yeah, so I work with entrepreneurs and inventors if they have an idea and a product. So we'll do, market assessments. I'll help them do some, just research on the market of what's out there now that helps with retailers and pricing. And then sometimes if I have a client that's more established, we'll do like satisfaction tracking. So we will send emails out to their list check in, see how things are going, what they love, what they don't. And this works for both products and services for my clients that offer service. And it's also an opportunity to sell them more. When you're emailing people and asking them how they're doing and what they want, it's an easy way to parlay that into serving them better and potentially selling them more, or adding on things to a package, or giving them another product that's similar that complements, and there's a way to kind of segue into additional sales. So I'll do tracking and satisfaction, health of the business, and it kind of ranges from there, both qualitative and quantitative research, depending on what they're looking for.
Oh, very good. So I want to talk a little bit about the assessment that we did, because I was so excited about that, to work with Tracy. We did it for an audience in Hong Kong, and we were talk a little bit about what you guys were doing there.
Yeah, so it was kind of honing in on because Tracy was talking to a big audience. Let me set the stage a little. Entrepreneurs, business owners, product developers, inventors, and not all of them were going to be the right fit potentially for to be a client of Tracy's. And so it was a great way to survey the crowd, understand where everyone's at, and how she can best serve them, not only in her talk that day, because she wants to speak to them and make it actionable for her audience, but how she can parlay it into a deeper relationship with individuals. So we worked through a different series of questions that can learn about the audience, learn about their needs, how they feel, how they're thinking about things, and so that Tracy in turn could really tailor her services to the clientele in the moment.
Good. That's exactly what it was meant to do. Now, she had a crowd of like 1,500 people, didn't she?
Yes, it was a huge crowd. Yes. Wow,
that is scary. Do you have any stats on it? You guys had internet problems that day, didn't you?
I don't have the exact stats. I'm on the startup end of it all. But I do think she had some. Listen, technology, we love it and hate it. But I think it ended up working, and she collects data on all these people. She can reach out to them beyond the conference now. And she knows more than just an email address, right? There's something really magical when you can get a name and an email from anywhere. But if you know where they're struggling and what they're worried about, you can really talk to them in a meaningful way that's memorable and, profitable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I always call it kind of a digital listening, because, when you see those areas they're struggling, you can create content. So it's almost like, wow, I was just thinking I didn't know how to do that, and here Tracy has some content for me. So
100%. Yeah. And from what I have seen, when people do even just a hint of research, it really just, their eyes widen and their mind, it's like a new burst of creativity of ways to understand and talk to their potential customers or someone that's going to buy their product. If you have a good strategist you're working with who's doing the research, they'll guide you on what to do next, right? Just a list or just some data points isn't super actionable, but it really can be if you understand the mindset and the psychology behind it all.
That is so cool and so true, because those conversations are really what are selling these days. People are tired of just the click mentality. Yes. They want to talk to people. They want to know they have good support and that somebody's listening. I think that's the biggest thing, is people just kind of in this last couple of years of digital kind of lost that personal connection.
Well, it's hard because I think as consumers, we want instant feedback, instant gratification. I want to just be able to get something. I don't want to talk to someone. That's what everyone says on the surface, right? I don't want to talk. Don't approach me in the store. I don't need help. Just let me read this thing. The reality is people actually do want help, and they just want the right help. They don't want to be annoyed with stuff that isn't relevant. So I think, as people, selling products or services, you have to think of it differently and tailor it to make a personalized and individual relationship with each person. People do want to feel connected. And I think, people are talking with their dollars. They want to hire people that they like, that they believe in, have similar values. They want to buy products that are doing good or are aligned with their values. This is a totally different lens to think about than just what's the lowest price or what's the fastest I can do this.
Right. No, I completely agree. And the other thing is, nobody likes to be sold.
No, the authentic connection.
Yes. If you can build a relationship, you don't have to be salesy. People will know you, like you, trust you enough to have the conversation about, so what do you think is next, without you have to buy this. Or
100%. Well, and consumers are savvy. You can't discount. Doesn't matter where you're shopping or what you're buying. People get it. I mean, we have so much research at our fingertips now. We, as consumers, know what things cost. We know the right thing, what we want. We can do quick comparisons. Mm-hmm. People are savvy, and they know when they're just being sold to, or it's just an ad, or it's just a gimmick. Or phony sales stuff. I say that with my hands. That stuff doesn't work anymore. Yep. And it's a real challenge, but I think, to your point, with assessments and understanding your consumer, you can speak their language, or you can learn to, at least.
You can definitely speak their language, but I want to go back to a minute to what you said about the consumers being savvy. The reason there's such a shift in digital marketing and what works and doesn't work from year to year is because the consumers are getting more and more savvy. Mm-hmm. The more technology they have at their fingertips, not fingerprints. We're not getting into jail today. The more that they actually can comparison shop. You have things like Yelp. All of these places you can go now to find out what the scoop really is on a product. And the kiss of death is something like social media, where somebody gets on and says, oh my gosh, this thing was broken.
Yes.
Wow.
Or I went into this store and was treated badly, and now suddenly your Facebook ratings have dropped. Reviews are crazy, and we see product reviews now on every website. Mm-hmm. It used to be, Amazon really owned the review space, but now you've got reviews across every website, and all very detailed. Sephora now, I watch videos, I look at photos, I can sort based on someone that looks like me. It's incredible. We are savvy shoppers. So now when you take that piece out, what matters? Obviously, does it work? Is the price good? Does it work for me? But do I care? Does the company align with me? Are they speaking my language? Do I feel connected when I either use a product or hire someone for a service?
Mm-hmm. Very, very, very good point. So where can we find you?
So I Ask Why Consulting. That's little old me. That's my website. You can find me and hire me to do your research studies or whatever you want to learn. Sometimes it's just getting on a phone call and talking strategy about how to incorporate research. But yeah, you can find me also with the product launch Hazards. I am on Tracy's team helping inventors and entrepreneurs get started with their new products.
Great. Website?
It's askwhyconsulting.com.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on today. This has been delightful and informative, and I love talking research.
I know. It's the little nerds inside of us.
Yes, it is. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.